Hi everyone, let's talk makeup, and today I have a review of the Wet n Wild Mega Cushion Foundation SPF 15. The way I like to do my foundation reviews is to show you the demo first so you can see how it applies, see the finish, all of that, and then after that I will come back with the full review. So let's cut to the demo. Okay, you're super close to my head, to my face. So I'm gonna open this up, and you see it has this little sponge here, and that's what I'm gonna use to apply it. And I'll do half of my face first so you can see the kind of coverage it provides. But I'm just gonna stick the sponge in there, and then I'll put it all on my face. And I will need to go back in and dip several times here. You can tell it's not a perfect match for me. It's a little bit more orange than my skin tone, but it's not a bad match. All right, it's a pretty okay match. It's workable. So there you go. That's one layer of the Wet n Wild Mega Cushion Foundation. It is a matte foundation, I find it. This is not one of those foundations where like, oh, it's my skin but better. No, you can tell that this is foundation. It's not like super matte, but it is matte. Like, do consider it matte. It's not super full coverage. To me, this is a decent solid medium coverage on my face, because as you can tell, I have hyperpigmentation on my face, and it covered some of that up. It doesn't cover up my acne. Most foundations don't. The only foundations that get close to covering my acne are thick foundations like the Estee Lauder Double Wear or the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation. But this does a decent job, so I actually don't feel like I need to go over with another layer of it. But if you do, you can add a little bit more layer to the foundation. You can layer it. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing it too much because it might get a little bit cakey. So that's why I'm not really gonna go in with more on that side. I'm just gonna push in and do the other side now. So you can see coverage is decent. I think if you don't need full coverage, I think this is a pretty decent coverage on this foundation. It's also easy to apply. I find this super easy. You don't have to use the cushion like I'm doing, but this is, I wanted to show you it being applied with the applicator it comes with, because that's the way it comes with it. But I have used a brush with it, and it worked fine too. So so I feel like that's also a possibility. So I'm going to go in with a little bit more on this cheek. Make sure that nose is covered up. Alright, so there we have it. That's the application of the foundation. I do like that it's kind of inserted this way, and then the sponge over here, so that it's more sanitary. But it's decent coverage. It's a bit orange. If you're more cool toned, especially than I am, I tend to be kind of neutral leaning warm. This color will for sure not work, but you'll need to watch out for some of these shades. But alright, I will finish doing my face and I'll come back with the full review in just a second. Okay, so I'm back with the full face. On my lips, by the way, because I have a very bold lip on, I have Fenty Beauty's lipstick in Griselda. It's the Mademoiselle line, because I decided to go bold. Anyway, my full thoughts on the foundation. As you saw, it's one that is very easy to apply. It's something that I really appreciate about it, even with its own little sponge applicator, which I actually like. When I use this foundation, I primarily use the sponge applicator. Now, it's starting, I've used it for, I think, 2 weeks, and it's starting to feel like when I press on the cushion on the foundation product here, that it's not as much product is coming out as when I first started using it. It does have 0.52 ounces, so it's a little over half an ounce, and typical foundations usually give you an ounce on it, but this one I understand, and it wasn't terribly expensive. I'll put the cost of it up on the screen, and I'll list below, because usually the prices of these foundations vary depending on where you buy it. Usually you can get a better deal if you buy it somewhere like Walmart, for example, rather than Walgreens. Walgreens tends to be one of the most expensive places to buy drugstore makeup, at least in my area. My color is in honey beige, and it says on the back it's a medium/tan in that it's warm. It is a little bit too warm for me. You can kind of tell the difference between the makeup on my face and my neck, and also on the application, that it was just a bit orange. That is how these foundations tend to run, so sometimes I neutralize it by adding powder on top. I don't have anything like I added contour, blush, highlight, all of that stuff, but I don't have any powder or setting spray whatsoever on top. So other makeup does go on very nicely on top of it. This is a foundation that I think is very easy to get a cakey look out of if you pile it on too much, because it looks like makeup. It is a very solid medium coverage, and actually as I'm looking at it again on the mirror here, it's really nice finish for me. I tend to prefer full coverage though, because I have quite a bit of acne scarring and hyperpigmentation and little bits and issues on my face right now. So yeah, so it is I'm okay. I'm happy with the finish, with the application. Now the wear, I don't see it making any huge claims about wear here. Like, it doesn't claim to last 24 hours, but it does last a good amount. I wore this on long days when I would apply my makeup 6:30 in the morning and then not take it off till like 9 p.m. at night, and it lasted. At the end of the day, I am still taking off this foundation. However, at around the 3 and 4 hour marks, I feel the oils peeking through, and it's one of those like really gross feelings where the oils peek through and it feels super gross. It doesn't look terrible. Like, I've looked at myself in the mirror when that's happening, and it doesn't look the worst, but it feels really bad, and you can tell, right? Like, I'm getting like a glowy look in my face, which is not what I want, right? I prefer a matte look. This is a matte foundation when I apply it, and then it becomes super glowy because my oils can break down the foundation. I did manage to make it work by putting powder on top, and it literally didn't matter what kind of powder foundation I was applying on top. It just needs powder, and then it'll last all day on my super oily skin. So that's the other thing. If you've never watched one of my videos before, I have very oily skin. Like, not just a little oily, not just oily on my T-zone, oily everywhere. So I typically do like to apply some sort of powder on top of my liquid foundation. It's just what us super oily skin girls have to do. So I don't mind applying powder on top of this foundation, especially because I like it and because I like the way it looks and how easy it is to apply. Here's the thing, so because right now it's sounding like I'm going to say, yay, I recommend this foundation. I actually cannot give it a full, wholehearted recommendation because it broke me out. And I know it was this foundation because as soon as I stopped using it, my face stopped breaking out. I, at the time, had been, there was only one other product that I could have blamed for the breakout, and I've been using it since then without any problems. So it was the foundation. So I almost didn't want to wear it today, but I wanted to show you how it applies and how it looks, so I went ahead and did it. But I will not be wearing this foundation again, I don't think, at least not on a regular basis. Maybe here and there, because of the problem with breaking me out. I don't tend to have a huge problem with foundations breaking me out. My skin type is a little bit sensitive, but like I said, I wear drugstore foundations, and I don't have that problem with other ones. This one, it happened right away, like right away at the 1 week mark of wearing it. I saw the breakouts happen. They weren't happening everywhere. It wasn't a total like disaster zone, but you know, 2 breakouts on my cheek, then that's enough for me to stop wearing the foundation, right? So if you have super sensitive skin, I would not recommend this foundation. So my little girl is jumping up here. She wants to tell you all about the foundation herself, right, lady? If you have super sensitive skin, this is not going to be the foundation for you. If you know that you don't have an issue with that kind of with breaking out with foundations, it might be worth giving it a try. If you don't want to risk it, I might just skip this foundation. And it's a real shame because I think it's a good foundation otherwise. But that's kind of a big deal for a lot of us. So I don't know what ingredient it is or what in particular here. Oh man, and it's such a shame because I really like Wet n Wild, and I really wanted to endorse I really wanted to give this a thumbs up, but I just can't. So that is it for me. Hopefully I've given you enough information so that you can make a decision on whether you need this foundation or not. Like I said, I definitely do not recommend it for sensitive skin or for dry skin either, because it's so easy for it to look cakey. I think oily skin can handle it. Skin that's not very sensitive can handle it. People that want a more kind of matte and kind of medium coverage. On a lot of people though, this is going to be more of a full coverage. Like if you don't have anything you're covering up in your face, this is going to be a full coverage on you. So if you don't like that look, I would also stay away from it. If you have very oily skin, again, I was able to wear it, but you're going to need powder on top of it. So if you don't like kind of the extra step of powdering your face after a liquid foundation, then also stay away from it. So there's a lot of caveats, a lot of warnings with this foundation. Yeah, so if any of you have tried it, if you have a different experience than mine with it, let me know down below. It's always good to know how other people are kind of dealing with this foundation. Or if you're planning on picking it up, also let me know, because hey, you know, sometimes we just want to try something new, something different, and see how it'll work on us. That is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.